The house at the edge of the city. This is where we begin. When Omar finally found a house he could afford, he thought his luck had changed. It was a modest 2-story home sitting alone at the very edge of the city, where the streetlights grew faint and the roads narrowed into quiet, forgotten paths. The house had been vacant for years, its windows dark and its roof sagging slightly, but something about it felt patient, as if it had been waiting. The real estate agent barely hid her relief when he signed the papers. "People don't usually stay more than a few weeks," she said. "Strange noises, strange feelings." She forced a smile. "But I'm sure you'll be fine." Omar laughed politely. He didn't believe in ghosts or curses. He believed in hard work and new beginnings. The first night, the moment he stepped inside, the air felt wrong, heavy, thick, as if someone had been exhaling sorrow for decades. But Omar brushed it off. Old houses had old smells, that was all. He unpacked until late. Around midnight he heard it. Footsteps, soft, slow, coming from upstairs. Omar froze. He held his breath, listening. The footsteps stopped abruptly, as if whoever made them had realized they were being heard. He forced himself to investigate. Every step up the staircase echoed in the silent house. The corridor lights flickered weakly, casting long, sharp shadows. At the far end, the guest bedroom door, which he remembered closing, was now open just a crack. A faint whisper drifted out. "Leave!" Omar stepped inside. The room was empty, but the whisper died the instant he entered, like breath erased from the air. The carvings. The second night was worse. The whispers returned longer, angrier. Sometimes they sounded like chanting, sometimes like someone sobbing against the walls. At exactly 3:11 a.m., the entire house vibrated with a deep, resonant groan. Omar jolted awake. His bedroom door creaked open on its own. A tall, thin shadow moved across the hallway. His phone refused to turn on. No matter how many times he pressed the button, the screen remained black. In the morning, he fled to the kitchen for comfort, but found something carved into the wooden table, fresh, deep scratch marks. "You are not alone." He hadn't brought anything sharp enough to carve wood. The basement door. On the third night, he heard a new sound. Knocking. Came from the basement. 3 knocks. Pause. 3 more. A slow, deliberate rhythm. Omar stood at the top of the basement stairs, staring down into the utter darkness below. The knocking stopped. Then, from the blackness, a cold voice whispered up the staircase. "We know your name, Omar." He slammed the door. It didn't help. The whispering began seeping through the walls, circling him like a swarm. The neighbors' warning. The next morning, desperate for answers, he approached the only nearby house. An old woman opened the door, and the moment she saw him, her face drained of color. "You bought that place?" Omar nodded. "You need to leave," she said immediately. "That land was used long ago by a tribe known for summoning jinn. They tried to bind the spirits. It went wrong, very wrong." She lowered her voice. "Those who enter the house attract their attention, and once they know your name, they follow." Omar shivered. "But it's just an old story, right?" The old woman didn't smile. "Stories begin for a reason." The last night, Omar returned to the house only to pack his things. But when he opened the front door, the house felt alive. The air pulsed with low growls and distant whispers. The floorboards beneath his feet vibrated. He hurried to his room, shoving clothes into a bag. The temperature dropped so sharply he could see his breath. Then the lights went out. the darkness filled with whispering, hundreds of voices layered over one another, chanting, laughing, crying. The walls shook. The basement door flew open with a violent slam. And then he saw them, shadows, dozens of them, gathering at the end of the hallway. Tall, contorted shapes with elongated limbs and glowing, hollow eyes. They didn't walk, they glided. Omar bolted for the front door. It resisted, pushing back as if hands on the other side held it shut. He threw himself against it with all his strength. It finally burst open. He sprinted into the cold night, not daring to look back. Only when he reached the main road did he stop. His chest heaved. His hands shook. But he was alive. The house stood silent and still behind him, its windows black, its door slightly open, as if mocking him. Aftermath. Omar never returned. The house remains empty, its windows collecting dust, its door sometimes swinging open by itself. No one stays long enough to wonder why. But sometimes, late at night, people passing by swear they hear whispers drifting through the broken windows. "We know your name. Come back. We're waiting." And the shadow at the top window, still there, watching, waiting, choosing its next visitor.